Apple. Apple is an American multinational technology company that designs, develops, and sells computer electronics, computer softwares, and online services. Apple was founded by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne in 1976, and it's considered one of the biggest 5 companies in the United States. Its hardware products include the iPhone smartphones, the iPad tablets, Mac computers, Apple Watches, and many more. But as much as we can say good about Apple and how successful it is, we can't forget about the unethical behaviors they have done in the past.
One of the unethical issues Apple had was child labor. Apple learned in 2013 that Suyin Electronics, a China-based company that made parts of its MacBooks, was employing underage workers with the help of their families by forging identity papers, despite telling Suyin to address the issue or risk losing business. They hired additional workers as young as 14 years old during an audit just 3 months later. Students who were supposed to go for work experience ended up working overtime and were given challenging tasks such as carrying heavy materials. In addition to that, the company also punished the youth workers by docking their wages. Nevertheless, rather than immediately cutting ties with Suyin for violating its supply chain ethics policies that prohibit child labor, Apple continued to rely on the company for more than 3 years.
A responsible business is one that deals with the environment and social impacts in an ethical and sustainable manner, taking into consideration more than what just impacts their profits, but also issues that could affect society in a significant way, which could by various factors include the community, human rights, the workplace, and marketplace. It focuses on making sure businesses are being honest and transparent with all possible stakeholders, including customers, employees, suppliers, and distributors. Being responsible in a business is very important, since customers are always extremely aware of the value of social responsibility and are more attracted to ethical companies, since it gives them a sense of pride, which can also lead to them recommending the business to others, especially when the profits go to good cause, for example, part of it being for charity, which can also make them unique and stand out from other businesses, as well as make up new opportunities by being responsible and constantly thinking of ways to be more sustainable and creative, which can lead them to reducing costs. Employees can also work more efficiently when knowing that the business is being responsible and going for a good cause. Other stakeholders like investors also pay more attention to companies that are socially responsible. They prefer them since they believe that those companies work to make the world a better place, therefore are more likely to want to invest.
Apple's internal audit revealed that there were cases of over 100 children under the age of 16 that were employed in 11 factories in China producing Apple's product. The term child labor is often defined as work that deprives children of their childhood, their potential, and their dignity, and that is harmful to their physical and mental development. Child labor is considered irresponsible business because child labor leads to extreme bodily and mental harm to children, and in some extreme cases can even lead to death. It can also lead to slavery, sexual and economic exploitation. Also, it cuts off children from their fundamental rights such as schooling and health care. In China, any child employed under the age of 16 is considered to be child labor. As of 2016, 152 million children were in child labor. 73 million of those children were in hazardous work around the world. Out of the 152 million children in child labor, 76% of the children were under the age of 16, around 71% of the children were in agricultural industry, 12% were working in the factories, and 18% were in the service industry. 58% of the children, 88 million of them, were male, and 42% of the children, 64 million, were female. Moving on, the most number of cases of child labor were found in the African region by 19.6%, followed by Asia and the Pacific, America, Europe and Central Asia, and the Arab state.
The stakeholders that were involved in this incident were Shenzhen Quanxin Human Resources, and it was the labor agency that forged the fake identifications for the children. Then we have Apple's Chief Executive Tim Cook and Senior Vice President of Operations at Apple, Jeff Williams. The immediate impacts of the responsible action were that children were returned to their families and the employer had to pay for the child's successful return home. The children would also be sent to school chosen by their families, and the employers would pay for the child's school fees. They would also pay the children an income equal to their factory's wages. Bonded labor was also found in 8 factories, and bonded labor is when a person's service acts as a security to pay off their debts. Therefore, the company was exploiting such laborers by paying them the minimum wage, which was just enough for them to pay off their debts. The long-term impacts of the irresponsible action were that Apple had a drop in stock price from 2012 and onwards due to the ethical issue of child labor. Apple's stock price decreased by 40% after 6 months of the child labor issue. It also had impacted Apple by causing customers to second-guess buying their products, which led to the drop. The electronics industry were impacted and had to rethink all the suppliers they had used for their own products in fear of getting into a similar issue. The effects didn't linger for that long due to Apple taking responsibility and finding solutions to the issues that they had faced.
In conclusion, we can say that Apple has faced a lot of criticism for using child labor and hiring hundreds of underage children despite being aware of the fact. Apple continued to rely on the underage employees for 3 years until they were forced to take actions against it. But for each problem, there's a solution. Child labor can be stopped by educating the parents about the drawbacks and the right of children. Another way to stop child labor is if people come out and report such unethical acts. At the end, if Apple's aim is to cut costs, they must look at another methods or another techniques other than using child labor, because this not only ruins the reputation, but it also affects the lives of children working under Apple.
Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed.